I'm Laura, 68.
Sitting on my back porch, sipping a glass of wine, I'm filled with a deep sense of peace. It's a far cry from the turmoil I endured a year ago. A year ago, I was in my kitchen making tea when the doorbell rang. Through the window, I saw a thin boy with unruly brown hair shifting nervously on my front porch. It was Leo, my 10-year-old grandson. He'd grown so much, and there was a new seriousness in his eyes. "Hi, Grandma," he said, his voice quiet and careful. "Dad said I could come see you if I wanted to. He's waiting in the car." I looked past him and saw Tom's truck parked at the curb. Tom sat behind the wheel, staring straight ahead. I invited Leo in, and as we sat in the living room, he told me about his new school, his new friends, and how his mom, Lily, worked at a diner now, and his dad had taken on odd jobs. He was growing up so fast, learning to value hard work. But it all started with that fateful day at Leo's birthday party. I walked into the backyard, and everything was over the top. There were purple and gold balloons tied to every chair, a unicorn, themed cake that must have cost a fortune. I'd been the one paying for all these extravagances for years. As I approached the main table where the family was supposed to sit, I counted the chairs. There were 6 chairs for 7 people. Lily came over in her designer dress, a gift I'd helped pay for. "Oops, looks like we miscounted," she said with a practiced smile. Everyone laughed, and Tom just gave me an apologetic look. I sat at a small table alone, watching the family at the main table having a great time. I pulled out my phone and saw all the automatic transfers for their mortgage, Leo's private school tuition, Lily's credit card bills. I'd thought my money was buying me a place in the family, but it had only bought me invisibility. After the party, I drove home in silence. That night, I sat at my kitchen table and canceled all the automatic transfers. 3 days later, the calls started. Tom was frantic, angry that the money had stopped flowing. He said they were in crisis mode. The bank was calling about the mortgage, and Lily was crying because her car had been repossessed. I told him I'd stop the payments because they'd become so used to taking my money that they'd forgotten I was a person. He tried to make it seem like it was just a mistake at the party, but I knew it was more than that. Lily showed up at my door a week later. She was dressed to play the victim, with minimal makeup and her hair pulled back. She accused me of destroying their family and using Leo as a weapon, saying he'd cry himself to sleep because he might have to change schools. I calmly told her that they needed to take responsibility for their own lives. She got angry, saying they'd been working hard, but I knew they'd built a lifestyle they couldn't afford, all funded by me. She threatened me, saying I'd lose Leo, Tom, and my whole family if I didn't start the payments again. But I stood my ground. I'd rather love Leo from a distance until he could understand the difference between real love and being used. The silence that followed was painful at first. I had no news from them, and I worried about Leo. Then, I ran into Lisa, Leo's former babysitter, at the grocery store. She told me about Leo having to transfer to public school, and I was heartbroken. I drove by their old house and saw the for sale sign. Through the window, I saw Leo sitting alone in a shabby living room. It broke my heart, but I also knew I'd done the right thing. A few months later, I got a call from Rose, Lily's former best friend. She told me that Lily used to call me her personal ATM and laughed about how easy it was to get money from me. She'd practiced stories about Leo's needs or their struggles to manipulate me. And Tom knew about it all. He even thought it was funny. This revelation was a shock, but it also freed me from any lingering guilt. I decided to focus on myself. I wanted to travel, take art classes, and volunteer. Now, here I am, with Leo sitting across from me, telling me how he's proud of his parents for working hard. He said I was brave for stopping pretending. I realized that I'd lost a son and daughter-in-law who only valued me for my money, but I'd found myself and still had my grandson. 6 months after Leo's first visit, he started coming over every other Saturday. Tom and I have an unspoken understanding. Lily never comes, and that's okay. On my 70th birthday, Leo gave me a card that said, "Thank you for teaching me that real love doesn't cost anything." I've learned the difference between being loved and being used, and I've chosen love, even if it meant losing those who couldn't tell the difference.